Last Tuesday was my 30th birthday. I woke up to silence. No calls. No messages. I checked my phone 3 times thinking maybe I'd missed notifications. Nothing. By noon I texted my mom, "Thanks for the birthday wishes." She responded 2 hours later, "Oh honey, I'm so sorry. We've been swamped with your father's promotion party planning. We'll do something next year, I promise." Red heart. Next year. For my 31st birthday. Because my 30th wasn't important enough to remember. My sister Vanessa didn't text until evening. "Sorry sis, crazy day. Happy belated. Dad's promotion is huge, we're all so excited." My brother Kyle didn't text at all. I spent my 30th birthday alone in my apartment, eating takeout and reviewing acquisition documents for a deal that would close in exactly 1 week. A $1.8 billion deal that would reshape the tech industry in our city. But my family was too busy planning a party for Dad's promotion to VP of Sales at TechCore Industries to remember their daughter had turned 30. Now 1 week later I was standing outside that very party held at an upscale restaurant downtown. I'd debated not coming. But something, spite, curiosity and need for closure, made me show up anyway. The private dining room was packed. Dad's colleagues from TechCore, family, friends, relatives. A banner read, "Congratulations James on your promotion." Champagne flowed. People laughed and celebrated. I slipped in quietly wearing a simple navy dress. Nobody noticed my arrival. I found an empty seat at the back and sat down. "Sophie." My aunt spotted me. "I didn't think you were coming." "I wasn't sure I would," I admitted. "Well, good for you for supporting your father. This promotion is such a big deal. Do you know how many people were competing for VP of Sales? Your dad beat out 12 other candidates." "That's great." "It really is. And the salary increase. My goodness. Your parents were just telling me. Almost $300,000 a year now. Can you imagine?" I could imagine. I made that in quarterly dividend payments alone. But I just smiled and nodded. Mom appeared looking flustered and elegant in her cocktail dress. "Sophie. You came." She hugged me briefly. "I'm so glad. Your father will be thrilled." "Will he?" "Of course. You're his daughter." He squeezed my hand. "And honey, again, I'm so sorry about your birthday. This promotion has just consumed everything. But we'll make it up to you, I promise." "It's fine, Mom. You're such a sweetheart for understanding." She glanced around the room. "Oh, I need to go greet some of your father's colleagues. Mingle, okay? There's food and drinks." She disappeared into the crowd. I sat alone at my table watching my family celebrate my father's success. Vanessa was holding court with some of Dad's younger colleagues, flirting and laughing. Kyle was at the bar with his wife, both of them in designer clothes that probably cost more than most people's monthly rent. Dad stood at the center of it all, shaking hands, accepting congratulations, looking proud and accomplished. Nobody approached me. Nobody asked how I was. Nobody mentioned my birthday again. Around 7 o'clock, Dad stood up to give a speech. Someone handed him a microphone. "Thank you all for coming tonight." His voice boomed across the room. "This promotion means everything to me. After 23 years at TechCore, to finally reach the executive level, it's a dream come true." Applause erupted. Dad waited for it to die down. "I want to thank my family for their support. My beautiful wife Margaret, who's put up with long hours and stressful projects. My son Kyle, who's following in my footsteps in the business world. My daughter Vanessa, who reminds me every day that success comes in many forms." He didn't mention me. I wasn't surprised. "I also want to thank TechCore Industries for believing in me. We're doing incredible things in the tech space. And with this new role, I'll be leading our expansion into enterprise solutions. We're positioned to dominate the market, especially with our main competitor, DataSync Corp, struggling financially." I sat up straighter. "DataSync Corp. Between you and me," Dad continued, lowering his voice conspiratorially though the microphone still broadcast everything, "DataSync is bleeding money. They've lost 3 major clients this quarter. Industry insiders say they're maybe 6 months from bankruptcy. Which means TechCore is going to capture their market share. My first initiative as VP is to prepare our sales team for the influx of DataSync refugees." People laughed. Someone shouted, "Here's to DataSync's downfall." Dad raised his glass. "To TechCore's dominance." Everyone drank. I sat very still, my mind racing. He had no idea. None of them did. The party continued. Dinner was served. An elaborate multi-course meal that probably cost $200 per person. I picked at my food, barely tasting it. Around 8 o'clock, someone turned on the TV in the corner of the room. "Let's see if your promotion made the news," one of Dad's colleagues joked. "It's not that big a deal," Dad said modestly, though he was clearly pleased at the suggestion. They flipped through channels. Local news, sports, weather. Then they landed on the business news channel. The anchor was mid-sentence. "Record-breaking acquisition announced just hours ago." Tech entrepreneur and venture capitalist Sophie Cameron has acquired DataSync Corporation for $1.8 billion in an all-cash deal. The acquisition, which industry analysts are calling the deal of the decade, positions Cameron's venture capital firm, Apex Innovations, as a major player in the enterprise software space. The room went quiet. My photo appeared on screen, a professional headshot from a Forbes interview 3 months ago. Cameron, 30, has been making waves in the tech industry for the past 7 years, the anchor continued. Starting with a modest seed fund of $500,000, she's built a portfolio worth an estimated $5.2 billion. The DataSync acquisition is her largest to date and represents a significant consolidation of the enterprise software market. The screen showed footage of me at the acquisition signing earlier today, shaking hands with DataSync CEO, surrounded by attorneys and executives, smiling confidently in my power suit. In a statement released this afternoon, Cameron said, DataSync has incredible technology and talented people. With proper investment and strategic guidance, they'll not only survive but thrive. We're excited to integrate their solutions with our existing portfolio and create something truly revolutionary. The anchor turned to his co-host. This is particularly interesting given that DataSync's primary competitor, TechCore Industries, has been circling like a vulture, expecting to pick up DataSync's clients when the company inevitably failed. That's not going to happen now, the co-host agreed. With Cameron's resources behind them, DataSync is positioned to not just compete with TechCore but potentially dominate the space. The anchor nodded. Industry insiders are already speculating that TechCore's recent executive promotion, they just appointed a new VP of sales, might have been premature. With DataSync now backed by billions in capital, TechCore's expansion plans could be dead on arrival. Someone turned off the TV. The silence in the room was absolute. Every eye turned to me. Dad's face had drained of color. He was staring at me like he'd never seen me before. Sophie. Mom's voice was tiny. Was that you? Yes, I said simply. You bought DataSync? Dad found his voice. You bought our competitor? I did. The deal closed at 4 o'clock this afternoon. For $1.8 billion? Yes. You have $1.8 billion? I had $2.3 billion in liquid assets available for the purchase. After acquisition costs and keeping some capital in reserve, yes, I spent approximately $1.8 billion. Vanessa laughed. A high, slightly hysterical sound. This is insane. Sophie, are you telling us you're a billionaire? Multi-billionaire according to most estimates. My net worth is approximately $5.2 billion, though valuations fluctuate based on market conditions. Kyle had pulled out his phone and was frantically typing. Holy shit. It's all true. There are articles everywhere. Sophie Cameron, Tech Wunderkind. The 30-year-old who conquered Silicon Valley. How Sophie Cameron built a $5 billion empire in 7 years. He looked up at me. Cameron, you changed your name. I use my mother's maiden name professionally. For privacy. Privacy. Vanessa's voice rose. You're on the news. You're in Forbes. She turned to Mom. Did you know about this? Of course not. Mom looked like she might faint. Sophie, how is this possible? I started a venture capital firm 7 years ago. I made smart investments, acquired promising companies, built a portfolio. It's not complicated. Not complicated? Dad's voice was strangled. You just bought the company that's been our main competitor for a decade. Yes. Why? Because it was a good investment. DataSync has excellent technology, strong patents, and a talented workforce. They've been mismanaged and underfunded, but the fundamentals are solid. With proper capital injection and strategic guidance, they'll be extremely profitable. But you knew, Dad struggled for words. You knew this would hurt TechCore. You knew this would hurt my promotion, my expansion plans. I knew DataSync was a good acquisition target. What it meant for TechCore was irrelevant to my business decision. Irrelevant. Dad's voice rose. I'm your father. Are you? I asked quietly. Because last Tuesday was my 30th birthday. My 30th. And you forgot. All of you forgot because you were too busy planning this party. We said we'd make it up to you, Mom protested weakly. You said you'd do something next year. For my 31st. Because my 30th wasn't important enough to remember while you were celebrating Dad's promotion. We were busy. I was busy too, I said. I was closing a $1.8 billion acquisition. I was negotiating with teams of lawyers and executives. I was restructuring an entire company. But I still showed up tonight because I thought family mattered. Apparently I was wrong. That's not fair, Vanessa said. We love you. We just forgot one birthday. One. I laughed bitterly. You forgot my 29th too. And my 28th. You forgot my college graduation. You didn't come to my company's launch party. You've forgotten every major milestone in my life for the past 7 years because you've been too busy with your own lives. You never told us how successful you were, Kyle protested. How were we supposed to know? You could have asked. Any of you. At any point. You could have asked what I did, how my business was going, whether I needed anything. But you didn't. You assumed I was struggling and you stopped paying attention. Dad set down his champagne glass with a sharp click. So this is revenge. You bought DataSync to get back at us for missing your birthday? No, Dad. I bought DataSync because it was an excellent business opportunity. The timing, showing up on the news during your promotion party, that's just coincidence. Though admittedly an ironic one. This is going to destroy my expansion plans, Dad said. Do you understand that? Everything I've been working toward will need to be revised, I finished. Yes. DataSync isn't going to fail now. They're going to grow. They're going to compete aggressively. And TechCore is going to have to actually earn its market share instead of counting on its competitors' collapse. You're killing my career. No, Dad. I'm doing business. Your career will be what you make of it. If you're good at your job, you'll succeed regardless of competition. If you were counting on DataSync failing to make your numbers, well, maybe that promotion was premature. The room was still silent, everyone watching this family drama unfold. I can't believe you do this, Mom said, tears in her eyes. After everything we've done for you. What have you done for me? I asked. I paid for my own college after you said you couldn't afford it. I built my business without a single dollar from this family. I've been to every one of your events, every celebration, every milestone, and you've attended 0 of mine. So please tell me, what exactly have you done for me? We raised you, Dad said. We gave you a home, an education, a foundation. You did the bare minimum required by law. And then you forgot I existed the moment I wasn't convenient or impressive enough to talk about. That's not true, Vanessa said. We talk about you. Do you? What do you tell people I do for work? She hesitated. That's what I thought. You have no idea what I do because you've never asked. Not once in 7 years. Maybe because you were always so secretive about it. Kyle argued. You never shared anything with us. I tried. 7 years ago when I started my firm, I called Dad to tell him. Do you remember, Dad? Dad's silence was answer enough. You told me I was being irresponsible. That starting a business was too risky. That I should get a corporate job with benefits. You told me I was making a mistake. I was trying to protect you. You were trying to control me. And when I didn't follow your advice, you wrote me off. All of you did. I became the daughter who made bad choices, who was probably struggling, who wasn't worth your time or attention. We never said that, Mom protested. You didn't have to. Your actions said it for you. When was the last time any of you asked to see me? Not for a family obligation, not for a holiday where my absence would be noted, but just because you wanted to spend time with me? Nobody answered. That's what I thought. I stood up. I came here tonight because despite everything, you're my family. I thought maybe, just maybe, someone would notice I was here. Someone would ask how I've been. Someone would remember that last week was my birthday and apologize in person instead of through a text. But you didn't. You were all too busy celebrating Dad's promotion to notice his daughter sitting in the back of the room. Sophie, wait. Mom reached for me. I'm done waiting, Mom. I've been waiting for 7 years for this family to see me, to value me, to treat me like I matter. And tonight made it clear that's never going to happen. That's not true, Dad said, but his voice lacked conviction. Of course you matter. Do I? Then why did you spend your promotion speech thanking Kyle and Vanessa but not mentioning me? Why did you introduce all your children except the one sitting 10 feet away from you? I didn't realize you were here. Exactly. You didn't realize. You didn't notice. You didn't care enough to look around the room and see that your daughter had shown up to support you despite the fact that you forgot her milestone birthday. I picked up my purse. Congratulations on your promotion, Dad. I genuinely hope it works out for you. But you should know that DataSync's turnaround starts Monday. We're hiring aggressively, investing in R&D and going after market share. TechCore is going to have real competition now. I hope you're up for the challenge. You're really going to do this? Dad asked. Compete against my company? It's not personal, Dad. It's business. Just like forgetting my birthday wasn't personal. You were just too busy with more important things. I walked toward the exit. Behind me, I could hear urgent whispers starting, voices rising. Wait. Vanessa caught up with me in the hallway. Sophie, come on. Don't leave like this. Why not? Because we're family. Because we can fix this. Can we? Are you going to suddenly start caring about my life? Start asking about my work? Start remembering my birthday? Yes, I will. I promise. She grabbed my hand. I'm sorry, okay? We're all sorry. We screwed up. But that doesn't mean you should cut us off. I'm not cutting you off, Vanessa. You cut me off years ago. You just didn't notice because I kept showing up anyway. But I'm tired of being the only one trying. I'm tired of being invisible. You're not invisible, she said, but even she didn't sound convinced. I am to this family. I have been for years. And tonight just proved it. Kyle appeared behind Vanessa. Sophie, about data sync. Can we talk about the business implications? Now you want to talk about my business? Well, yeah. This affects all of us. If DataSync competes with TechCore, it affects Dad's career, which affects your inheritance prospects. I finished. That's what you're worried about, isn't it? Not that you forgot my birthday. Not that you've ignored me for years. But that my success might somehow impact your financial future. That's not what I meant. Yes, it is. And honestly, it's refreshingly honest. At least you're clear about why you're talking to me now. I pushed past them and walked out of the restaurant. My phone started ringing immediately. Then Dad. Then Vanessa. Then Kyle. Then people I hadn't heard from in years. Cousins, aunts, uncles. All suddenly very interested in talking to me. I turned my phone to silent and drove home. The next morning the articles really started appearing. My acquisition of DataSync was major news in the tech world. Forbes ran a feature on my meteoric rise. Bloomberg analyzed the strategic implications. TechCrunch called it the power move of the decade. And buried in several articles was a small detail that made me smile. Industry insiders note that Cameron's acquisition comes just 1 week after her 30th birthday, making her one of the youngest female billionaires in the tech sector. At least somebody noticed my birthday. Even if it was just journalists doing background research. My phone kept ringing. Messages piled up. Everyone wanted to talk. Family, old friends, business contacts I'd met once at conferences. I ignored most of them. But I did respond to one message. From my old college roommate, the only person besides my assistant who'd actually remembered my birthday without being prompted. Saw the news. Congratulations on the acquisition. Also, how was your birthday dinner? I texted back. Quiet. Ate takeout alone. Reviewed acquisition docs. Let me guess. Your family forgot. Yep. But they remember now? Yep. Of course they do. Want to get actual birthday dinner this weekend? My treat. Wait, can I say my treat to a billionaire? I laughed. The first genuine laugh in days. Your treat sounds perfect. And yes, I'm still Sophie. The money doesn't change that. Good. Because billionaire or not, you're still my friend who has terrible taste in takeout and watches too many business documentaries. Guilty. 3 days after the acquisition news broke, my father called. I'd been ignoring his calls, but something made me answer this one. Sophie. Thank you for picking up. Hi, Dad. I've been thinking a lot about what you said. About forgetting your birthday. About not noticing you. He paused. You were right. About all of it. I didn't respond, waiting. I got so caught up in my own career, my own successes, that I stopped paying attention to yours. I made assumptions about your life without checking if they were true. And I hurt you. Repeatedly. For years. Yes, I said quietly. You did. I don't know if I can fix it. I don't know if you even want me to try. But I want you to know I'm sorry. Genuinely sorry. Not because you're successful, though I'm incredibly proud of what you've built, but because I failed you as a father. Thank you for saying that. Can we try again? Start over? I want to know you, Sophie. The real you. Not the daughter I imagined, but the woman you actually are. I looked out my office window at the city below. I don't know, Dad. That's going to take time. I have time. And I'll wait. However long it takes. Hey, I said. We can try. But Dad, DataSync is still going to compete with TechCore. This doesn't change that. He laughed. A real laugh. I know. And honestly, I'm looking forward to the challenge. Makes things more interesting. Good. Because we're coming for your market share. Bring it on, kiddo. Bring it on. We talked for 20 more minutes. Really talked for the first time in years. About my business, my life, my plans. He asked questions. He listened. He didn't offer unsolicited advice or try to tell me what to do. It wasn't perfect. Years of distance don't disappear in one phone call. But it was a start. And sometimes a start is enough. That weekend I had birthday dinner with my college roommate at a dive restaurant we'd loved in school. No champagne, no celebration, no cameras. Just two friends, cheap pizza, and the understanding that some people remember you not because of what you're worth but because of who you are. My phone buzzed with a text from Mom. Next year we're celebrating your 31st properly. No excuses. And Sophie, we're proud of you. We should have said that years ago. I smiled and put the phone away. Next year was a long time away. But maybe, just maybe, next year would be different. Because now they saw me. Finally. Really saw me. And all it took was $1.8 billion and a primetime news broadcast. Indeed.